Hello and welcome to Cutting Words. I'm Brad Thompson and here it is. The OGL playtest has begun. This is Wizards' answer to the OGL controversy. So let's see what they've got to say today. So starting the OGL playtest. For over 20 years, this is by Kyle Brink again. For over 20 years, thousands of creators have helped grow the TTRPG community. Using a shared set of game mechanics that are the foundation for the unique worlds and other creations. We don't want that to change. And we've heard loud and clear that neither do you. I bet they have. So we're doing two things. We're giving the core D&D mechanics to the community through a Creative Commons license, which means that they are fully in your hands. Okay. So anyone can just use the core mechanics of D&D for free. Fantastic. Perfect. All right. And two, if you want to use quintessentially D&D content from the SRD, such as Owlbears and Magic Missile, OGL 1.2 will provide you a perpetual, irrevocable license to do so. Okay, so the core mechanics are in Creative Commons. You don't need OGL or anything to do anything with running anything that utilizes the core D&D mechanics. But if you want to reference anything in the SRD, which has a selection of things, like some spells, some monsters, some things, not the whole thing, and some core classes, that sort of thing, that is in the SRD. If you want to utilize any of that, but you can still write like a setting doc or whatever, utilizing D&D core mechanics, and if you don't necessarily need to reference any of those other things, like especially if you're inventing your own world, you don't necessarily need to, then that's fine. Cool. Okay, so far so good. Creative Commons is a non-profit dedicated to sharing knowledge, and it has developed a set of licenses to let creators do that. The Creative Commons license we picked lets us give everyone those core mechanics forever, because we don't control license. Releasing the D&D core rules under the Creative Commons will be a decision we can never change. And also, it's very hard to back up game mechanics in court, as they're very difficult / potentially impossible. Never really been argued in court, so it's hard to say for sure. But the common thought is game mechanics cannot really be copyrighted. You can't really, but the writing of them can. So if you copy paste rules verbatim, that you are stealing that. But if you reword things, so like, it's worded completely differently, but the end result is basically the same mechanic, that's fine. Can't copyright rolling a d20. Anyway, though I'm not a lawyer or particularly specialized in copyright law, I vaguely studied it in some of my long time ago in some of my filmmaking days. I studied to make film. Anyway, let's continue. Let's talk OGL 1.2 and the important ways it's different from 1.0a. First, it allows us to address hateful content. Second, it only applies to published TTRPG content, including the VTTs. Third, this license specifically includes the word irrevocable. That's nice. I can't double back on it later. What's not in there? There's no royalty payment, no financial reporting, no license back, no registration, no distinction between commercial and non-commercial. Nothing will impact any content you've already published under OGL 1.0a. That will always be licensed under OGL 1.0a. Your stuff is your stuff. Perfect. So don't worry about payments, don't worry about doing reports and registering things with Wizards. Man, that's a lot of paperwork that I feel like Wizards nor anyone would want to deal with. Yeah, no pulling back license. Yeah, perfect. That all sounds great. There's a link at the end of this note where you can download a PDF of the proposed OGL 1.2, along with supporting documents for your review and feedback. Before you scroll down and grab it, let me give you more details on what's in there. All right. Protecting D&D's inclusive play experience. As I said above, content more clearly associated with D&D, like the classes, spells, and monsters, is what falls under the OGL. You'll see that OGL 1.2 lets us act when offensive or hurtful content is published using the covered D&D stuff. We want an inclusive, safe play experience for everyone. This is deeply important to us, and OGL 1.0 didn't give us the ability to ensure it. Also, you got to protect that brand, right? Brand's where the money's at. Can't have people doing things that can, ruin your brand. All right. TTRPGs and VTTs, OGL 1.2 will only apply to TTRPG content, whether published as books, as electronic publications, or on virtual tabletops, VTTs. Nobody needs to wonder or worry if it applies to anything else. It doesn't. Deauthorizing OGL 1.0a. We know this is a big concern. The Creative Commons license and the open terms of 1.2 are intended to help with that. One key reason why we have to deauthorize, we can't use the protective options in 1.2 is someone can just choose to publish harmful, discriminatory, or legal content under 1.0a. And again, any content you have already published under OGL 1.0a will still always be licensed under OGL 1.0a. So they can still, let's see, they're going to get rid of the old one, which is, yeah, definitely going to be a concern, because technically the old one, can it be deauthorized legally? It's an interesting question. They say they're going to do it. Yeah, legally, who knows? This requires a lot of buy-in, I guess, from everyone else. Very limited license changes allowed. Only 2 sections can be changed once OGL 1.2 is live. How you cite wizards in your work and how you can contact each other. We don't know what the future holds or what technologies we will use to communicate with each other, so we thought these 2 sections needed to be future-proofed. So they can update how you, give wizards credit and how you contact wizards. Alright, sure. In case they change their address or who knows, gets bought out or who knows what happens. Alright. That part seems fine. For completeness, let's sum up what else is in OGL 1.2 and supporting documents. Virtual Tabletop Policy. We will continue to support VTT usage for both OGL creators and VTT operators. The Virtual Tabletop Policy spells this out. Ownership disputes. You own your content. You don't give wizards any license back, and for any ownership disputes, you can sue for breach of contract and money damages versus holding up products other players are waiting for while we sort it out. Okay. No hateful content or conduct. If you include harmful, discriminatory, or legal content or engage in that conduct publicly, you can terminate your OGL 1.2 license to our content. We can terminate contract license content. So no hurtful content. Okay. Include harmful, discriminatory, or legal content or engage in that conduct publicly. We can terminate your OGL 1.2. Okay, so that is quite a loaded gun they got there. So including hateful, discriminatory, or legal content or engage in conduct publicly. So if you post something on Twitter that Wizards feels like falls under this category, which based off their opinions may not necessarily be 100% correct, one would hope. Who would post this stuff? They can terminate. They go, don't like what you did there. We'll pull the trigger. I'm not sure what legal things you have to do to prove you've done harmful, discriminatory, or legal content either publicly or in a publication using the OGL. You would think, I like to think that Wizards wouldn't abuse this, going, we will cancel your things because these things could remotely be considered that. But yeah, something to keep in mind. I don't think they'd go full hog and go, you use this old, you utilize this content that you wrote based off some old, drow law or whatever that could be considered slightly harmful / racist or something. And so now we're going to terminate your OGL. I don't think they'd go that far, but I guess there's potential for something like that. Who knows? Create a product badge. You'll have the option to include a badge on your OGL works. Once you get feedback on the badge, we'll create a guide on how to use and display it. Cool. Your little badge. OGL approved. Overall, what we're going for here is giving good faith creators the same level of freedom or greater for things in Creative Commons to create TTRPG content that has been so great for everyone, while giving us the tools to ensure the game continues to become ever more inclusive and welcoming. You gotta get those new player signups. That is where money is at, that new blood. Money, grow the hobby, get that money. But it's good for everyone too, as well as Wizards' bottom line. Yes, as a company, what do you expect? Okay, now for the actual documents, there's a link to the documents, which we can open up in a sec. Also got, we're very interested to read your thoughts. Our team does a great job compiling all the playtest feedback for us in a comprehensive way to reflect and act on. So I'm confident they'll do the same here. After you read the new SRD 5.1 introduction, OGL 1.2 and the VTT Policy. Provide your feedback on the review documents in our survey, which will be live tomorrow. We'll update this post with the link. The survey will remain open until February 3rd. We'll talk about again on or before February 17th. We'll share what we heard from you and updates to the OGL document as a result. The process will extend as long as it needs to. We'll keep iterating and getting your feedback until we get it right. D&D is my life's hobby because I'm fundamentally a co-op gamer. Let's tackle this together. Kyle Brink, Executive Producer, Dungeons & Dragons. Well, thank you, Kyle. So far, so good. Let's get the document up and have a look. Yeah. Kyle, so far, I think, is doing a fantastic job of taking back the narrative from, I don't know who wrote the previous post. Hopefully it wasn't also Kyle. Sound like it was someone else. Yeah, because their first condescending response wasn't great. Alright, let's get this draft up and have a look. Alright, here it is. OGL 1.2 draft for discussion purposes. Notice the draft, highlight draft, draft table contents, draft SRD introduction, draft OGL 1.2, draft Wizards of the Coast Vtc Policy, draft. It's definitely a draft, guys. 100% draft. I wonder if the one that was sent around originally had this much draft text all over it to make it super clear. It was definitely a draft. Or maybe they just learnt that maybe we should definitely make sure super clear it's a draft. Avoid any future confusion. Who knows? But it's definitely a draft, everyone. Always has been a draft. What are you talking about? Totally believable. Alright, let's see. So far, so good. It's definitely a draft. Draft for discussion purposes only. Introduction to System Reference Document 5.1. Woo! Many ways to create Dungeons & Dragons content is available to you in many ways. To core D&D mechanics, which are located on pages 56 to 104 and 204 to 260 and 358 to 359 of the System Reference Document 5.1. That is not attached. Yeah, this document is far too short for that. But not examples used on these pages are licensed to you under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International CC BY 4.0. This means that Wizards is not placing any limitations at all on how you use that content. Woo! We can just use it as we like. Cool. Our copyright rights and other content included in this system reference document are licensed to you under OGL license 1.2. Okay, so when they release the whole SRD, only those page sections there, which probably just core rule mechanics, probably my asset classes and monsters, things like that, will be free use for everyone, and then OGL license will be for the meat. This is all the different classes, these are the monster stats, spells, that sort of thing, by looks. Well, my guess is most of those number ranges there, but I will find out when, I guess, the SRD is released too. We're good to see that too. I wish they, I guess it's not ready yet in this draft. Alright, our copyright rights and the other content, including the system reference document, are licensed to you under OGL license 1.2. Use of D&D content in virtual tabletops is allowed on the terms of Wizards virtual tabletop policy. Use of D&D content in streaming, fan art, cosplay, and other fan content is permitted as described in Wizards fan content policy. Platforms such as D&D Beyond and DM's Guild provide additional pass to share your D&D content under different license terms. Ooh, I wonder, is D&D Beyond going to be a different pass? No, I guess it's just talking about regular homebrew stuff. Not like, I'd love to be able to have DM's Guild content on D&D Beyond, but that's probably never going to happen. Oh, because it's so convenient having things in D&D Beyond as opposed to PDS and DM's Guild. Anyway. Creator product badges. For content published under the OGL 1.2, you may use one of the following badges in the manner specified in the Creator Product Badge Style Guide. You may, you don't have to. It's optional. So long as you comply with that guide and using the badges, Wizards licenses you under the OGL 1.2 to use such a badge on any of your licensed works. So you do get the ampersand. That's nice. Actually, I have the D&D ampersand as opposed to saying this product's designed for the greatest D&D game or 5e or whatever. You can actually have the D&D logo on it. So actually, that's quite big. Actually, I think. So that's cool. Notice of the authorization of OGL 1.0a. The Open Game License 1.0a is no longer an authorized license. This means that you may not use that version of the OGL or any prior version to publish SRD content after effective date. It does not mean that any content previously published under the version needs to update this license. Any previously published content remains licensed under whichever version of the OGL was in effect when you published that content. Deauthorizing OGL 1.0a. Scary stuff. I guess they're keen on it. Alright. Okay, Open Game License 1.2. This is a license between Wizards of the Coast, LLC, Wizards, us, we, or our, and anyone who wants to use licensed content in their own TTRPG, by using our licensed content. You agree to the terms of this license as used in this license. We, or any other term referring to us, includes our affiliate successors and predecessors. Licensed content. Content covered. Our licensed content. This license covers any content in SRD 5.1 or any subsequent versions of the SRD we release under this license. It is not licensed under Creative Commons. You may use that content in your own works on the terms of this license. Our unlicensed content. Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. So many words are licensed. Any other content we release or have released is not licensed to you under this license. Your content, this is your creative contributions to your works, they are not our licensed content or our unlicensed content. This license permits you to combine your content with our licensed content and distribute the resulting works as authorized by this license. Works covered. This license only applies to printed media and static electronic files such as EPUBs or PDFs. Oh, wonderful. PDFs are still kicking around. Good. You create for use in or as a tabletop role-playing games and supplements, TTRPGs, and in virtual tabletops in accordance with our virtual tabletop policy. Your license works to be licensed work under this license. It must be covered work as defined in section 1b, contain both our licensed content and your content, and not contain our unlicensed content. Copyrights. We are only licensing you our copyrights in our licensed content, except that under section 5a, we also grant you a trademark license to the Creator Product Badge as further detailed in the Creator Product Badge Style Guide. You receive no other rights to our trademarks and no rights to any other intellectual property we own. Fair enough. License. In consideration for your compliance with this license, you may copy, use, modify, and distribute our licensed content around the world as part of your licensed works. This license is perpetual, meaning that it has no set timing and date. Non-exclusive, meaning that we may offer others a license to our licensed content or our unlicensed content under any conditions we choose. And irrevocable, meaning that content licensed under this license can never be withdrawn from the license. It also cannot be modified except for attribution provisions of section 5 and section 9a regarding notices. What you own. Your licensed works are yours and may not be copied or used without your permission. Your knowledge that we and our licensees as content creators ourselves might independently come up with content similar to something you create. If you have a claim that we breached this provision or that one of our licensees did in connection with content they licensed from us. Alright. See. Any such claim will be brought only as a lawsuit for breach of contract and only for money damages. You expressly agree that money damages are an adequate remedy for such a breach and that you will not seek or be entitled to injunctive relief. In any such lawsuit, you must show that we knowingly and intentionally copied your licensed work. Access and substantially similarity will not be enough to prove a breach of this section 3. I don't think anyone's ever tried or would think to try or be able to sue Wizards for coming up with something that's very similar to something they did. That's madness. But, you know, it's there to cover that up their ass because they don't want to stop rollout of a book being published or selling books or whatever or a lawsuit. Like, there's no, like, undo. Give you some money, maybe. Probably not that. Cool. What we own. We own our license content and reserve all rights not expressly granted in this license. You control your content. You can make your content available under any terms you choose, but you may not change the terms under which we make our licensed content available. You must clearly indicate that your licensed work contains our licensed content under this license, either by including the full text of this license in your licensed work or by applying the Creator Products badge in compliance with the then current style guides. Sure. You may permit the use of your content on any terms you want. However, if the license you offer to your licensed work is different from the terms of this license, you must include in the licensed work the attribution of our licensed content found in the preamble to the applicable SRD, and make clear that our licensed content included in your licensed work is made available on the terms of this license. Warranties and disclaimers. We represent and warrant that age and capacity to be bound, you are over the age of majority, or if younger, you have had your parent or guardian review these terms and agree to them on your behalf. Authority. You have the power and authority to enter into this license and perform its obligations. No infringement. Your licensed works do not and will not infringe on third parties' intellectual property rights or any of our rights not licensed to you via the license or any other. No endorsement except as otherwise expressly allowed by this license. You will not state, suggest, or imply that your licensed works are endorsed or is associated with us. No illegal contact. You will not violate the law in any way relating to this license or your licensed works. No hateful content or conduct. You will not include content in your licensed works that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in conduct that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have the sole right to decide that conduct or content is hateful, and you can covenant that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or other legal action. Okay. So his claim, we decide that what you're doing is hateful, and so we're just gonna pull it now, and you have no recourse. That's it. And see what they're doing. So I don't think, I like to think that they wouldn't be abused, and and if they do see hateful, they will get it right. But it'd be nice if there's some kind of third party involved there or something like that. I don't know. It's a tricky one. Tricky one there. To keep some kind of balance there and trust. Alright, modification of termination. Let's see. Modification. We may only modify the provisions of this license in identifying the attribution required in Section 5 and the notice provision of Section 9A. We may not modify any other provisions. Termination. We may immediately terminate your license if you infringe on any of our intellectual property, bring an action challenging our ownership of our licensed content, trademarks, or patents, violate any law in relation to your activities under this license, or violate Section 6F. We may terminate license if you breach any other term in this license and do not cure that breach within 30 days of notice to you of the breach. Okay, so what if you got 30 days to undo the suggested hate you're doing? Full content. Maybe? Alright, some recourse there. Nearly there. 8. Disclaimer of warranties and limitation of liability. You understand and agree that we are providing licensed content as is and make no representation or warranty of any kind concerning your use of the licensed content, except as expressly stated in this license. We disclaim all warranties express, implied, statutory, or otherwise. You bear all risk of using licensed content, and such use is solely at your own discretion and risk. We have no liability to you for any types of damages in connection with your use of our licensed content, including without limitation any indirect, consequential, special, punitive, or exemplary damages, so long as our conduct is issued was not grossly negligent words or intentional. Alright, nearly there. Miscellaneous. So it's 9 notices. We may notify you by any email or physical address we can locate for you. Only if we cannot locate your email or physical address after a reasonable search, notice via a public channel is sufficient. You may provide notice to us of your email or physical address or any other notice by emailing oglnotices@wizards.com. Entire agreement and disclaimer of reliance. This license governs your use of our licensed content. This license consists only of the terms expressly included herein, and not any matter not expressly included herein. In accepting this license, you represent and warrant to us that you have relied only on the terms of license and the advice of your own counsel, if any, and you have not relied on anything that is not expressly part of this license. No waiver of rights. If we fail to exercise any right we have under this license, that failure will not prevent us from exercising that right in the future. Severability. If any of this part of this license is held to be unenforceable or invalid for any reasons, Wizards may declare the entire license void, either as between it and the party that obtained the ruling, or in its entirety. Unless Wizards elects to do so, the balance of this license will be enforced as if that part, which is unenforceable or invalid, does not exist. Right, so if someone stuffed up and this license was proven to be actually not good, whoever drafted this made a mistake, and it didn't hold up in court, they can just go, you know what, we're pulling the whole thing. That's it. License gone. Sorry, everyone. Interesting. Governing law, jurisdiction, class action waiver. This license and all matters relating to its interpretation and enforcement will be governed by the laws of the state of Washington, and any disputes arising out of or relating to this license will be resolved solely and exclusively through individual litigation in the state of or federal courts located in the country in which Wizards or any successor has its headquarters, and the parties expressly consent to the jurisdiction of such courts. Each party hereto irrevocably waives the right to participate in any class, collective, or other joint action with respect to such a dispute. Headings and footnotes. The headings and footnotes contained in this license are for reference purposes only and shall not affect in any way the meaning or interpretation of this license. Waiver of jury trial. We and you each waive any right to a jury trial of any dispute, claim, or course of action related to or arising out of this license. Oh, don't want a trial by jury? So a judge ruling. Something, I guess. I don't know. American law, who knows? Review by counsel. You should seek advice of counsel to make sure you understand this license. You agree that you had the opportunity to do so. Okay. And, the Vtc policy. All right. As gamers and big fans of VTDs, we are announcing that this new Vtc policy is part of the rollout of OGL 1.2 for the virtual tabletop. All right. Why does Wizards need a VTT policy? We support the role of VTTs play in the tabletop space. The ability to play the game remotely. Ability to game remotely means more people can game, and it's wonderful that people thousands of miles apart can share a space as though sitting around a table. But as VTTs advance, their functionality will raise tricky questions. Where is the line between a VTT and a video game? When does the VTT become more than just a replacement for the traditional tabletop? Those questions require thoughtful answers. Answering them will take time. And we want this policy to reflect your input. So we'll be asking for feedback and talking to you about our goals as that discussion advances and new technology emerges. Especially if you want to put out our own VTT. Get everyone to use that. What is permitted under this policy? Using VTTs to replicate the experience of sitting around the table playing D&D with your friends. So displaying static SRD content is just fine because it's just like looking at the source book. You can put the text of Magic Missile up in your VTT and use it to calculate and apply damage to your target, and automating Magic Missile's damage to replace manually rolling and calculating is also fine. The VTT can apply Magic Missile's 1d4+1 damage automatically to your target's hit points. You do not have to manually calculate and track the damage. What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of the Magic Missile streaking across the board to strike your target, or your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, that's not a tabletop experience, that's more like a video game. And also we're trying to build our own right now. It's being, they mentioned this a while ago, they're working on something like that. So, no, we need that IP on our own thing, thank you. May I make my VTT owlbear token look like the one from the monster manual? No, we've never licensed visual depictions of our content under the OGL, just the text of the SRD. That hasn't changed. You can create a creature called an owlbear with the stat block from the SRD. You cannot copy any of our owlbear depictions. But if you have drawn your own unique owlbear, or someone else did, you can use it. Someone else did it, you have the rights to, What about OGL 1.0a? Does this policy apply to that? Yes, you can upload your already licensed content to a VTT. I own or operate VTT. How does this affect me? If you are a VTT owner or operator who supports OGL products on your platform, you have the same obligations for VTT content that any other website owner or operator has for copyright content under the DMCA. You say this is a conversation. Does that mean this policy can change? Yes. We need your feedback as the tabletop space evolves. The potential of VTTs is tremendous and exciting, and we don't want to harm that development. I mean, look, the amount of growth for the last recent years because of the pandemic. It's such a cash cow, right? But yeah, that's it. So that is the draft. Definitely a draft, OGL 1.2 for discussion. Okay. Very interesting. Wasn't too long, only 6 pages. They're cool. I like the creative product pages. There we are. So, that is OGL 1.2 draft. What do you think? I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. I think Wizards is doing a great job at damage control now. They're like, whoa. Initially, it's early stumbles. Now, wait. Now they're backpedaling. And doing the Creative Commons for the cool rules. Fantastic. OGL 1.2 is looking pretty good. I'm just a little concerned about their avenues they have in there for pulling back the license in a deauthorization 1.0a. That's always going to be a tricky one to navigate. I'm definitely interested to see how things develop going forward, but I think it's definitely a good opening move on their part here, finally. So yeah, there we have it. That is the latest on the OGL debacle. Hopefully less of debacle now. I'm Brad Thompson, and this has been Cutting Words. If you like the videos, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow. Getting very, very close to that 500 number. 500 subscribers, please, come on. So hit that subscribe button now if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Happy gaming, and see ya.